Due to council member commitments, there is a lack of council member quorum available for tonight's regularly 5:30 scheduled meeting. I, as a deputy city clerk, am adjourning this regularly scheduled meeting and will reconvene later this evening, August 6th at 7 p.m. Thank you.
Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilmember Orth,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Gornick,
Here.
Mayor Matthews.
Here,
Thank you.
we have a quorum. We'll go ahead and go to public comment. Public comment will be in accordance with the attached policy. This time is reserved for members of the audience to address the city council on items of interest that are not on the agenda and are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. It is recommended that speakers limit their comments to 3 minutes each, and it is requested that no comments be made during this period on items on the agenda. The council is prohibited by law from taking any action on matters discussed that are not on the agenda. Prior to addressing the council, any handouts for council will be provided to the city clerk for distribution to the council and appropriate staff. The public will have an opportunity to comment on items on the agenda once the item has been called and the mayor opens the item to the public. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on to ceremonial presentations. 2-1, Jim Carts, police vehicle, Chief Kendall.
Yes, I just wanted to provide you with an update in regards to these gem carts. We received $40,000 via a San Joaquin Valley Airborne grant. This allowed us to purchase 2 gem carts, both of which, or one is now stationed out at Lemoore High School. The other one is out at West Hills, or I apologize, Lemoore College. As you know, those campuses are both very large, and if you have to get from one side of the campus to the other, it takes a little bit of effort. And if you have to get there in a hurry, you don't really want to be out of breath when you get there. It's an emergency. So they're being utilized right now. They are street legal. They top out at 25 miles per hour, completely electric. And if you would like, I have one out front if you didn't have an opportunity to check it out on your way in. That's all I got.
Good. What does GEM stand for?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Name of the company.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We purchased them through actually through Toyota. They were the dealer that had them.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Bush, item 2-2, Bush Street Crossing, Perez. Mr. Perez.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. How's your guys' afternoon going?
Good.
Good.
How about you?
I'm doing great. Just another day. So here we're gonna start off with showing you guys our crosswalk that we put in on Bush and Fox Street. We'll go ahead and get started with the video first and then.
Mhm.
It's probably the only time you see somebody walking a bike across the crosswalk.
That's the end of the video. We were able to get funding from the local transportation fund that is going to get reimbursed by the HSIP grant. It is 90% almost done. We are missing some floodlights on top. And then also on the bottom of where the pedestrian sign was at, that's flashing, we're gonna have 2 more yellow flashing beacons on there that would be put on. We are going to remove the yield lettering on the bottom of the asphalt on the road. We got a complaint saying, hey, we are getting confused are we supposed to yield there or are we gonna yield in pedestrians, for there? So we're going to change it over to pedestrian crossing. So that's what we're gonna put. It will be open. It'll be open August 14th. August 9th, we are going to be putting our trailer billboards up there, warning people on the east side and the west side of Bush Street that there is a new pedestrian crosswalk. Is there any questions from council?
Are you guys gonna do a ribbon cutting?
Oh. Boss, are we gonna do ribbon cutting? If council would like a ribbon cutting or presentation, I guess we will. So.
Is there gonna be
Fully for you.
refreshments and hot dogs too, or I mean?
Yeah, that's the big question right there.
We
Good
could do
job.
something. We were trying to get it open, for the summer bash, but unfortunately, we didn't get it, but we got to get a lot of people are stopping by. We're thanking us because it's something that we've been needing there in that intersection. So thank you guys.
Hold on, a question. So where did you say you got the funds? Where did it get?
It's funds came from the local transportation funding that is going to be reimbursed by the HSIP grant.
And do we have any, this is a great idea
Mhm.
in terms of getting access to the park and so are there any other locations that we want to identify in the city for something similar? And if so, do we want to start putting our application in with this agency?
We are going to look forward and see where else, a pedestrian crosswalk is needed. So if you guys have any ideas or anything, feel free to reach out to us and we'll get the process started.
Okay,
Looks great.
Thank you.
thank you.
Yes, good job.
Good job. Thank you.
Item 2-3, update of clean water compliance effort, Mr. Rivera.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Just want to update you on our water compliance issues that we have ongoing. As you know, the previous council meeting, I mentioned that we had received a compliance order from DDW. They basically want to know, it's been a while. We haven't, nothing's going on with our TTHM projects, give us an updated action plan and schedule. So we did. And so we gave them a timeline based on our best guesstimates. There's a few things that are still unknown until we get through the litigation process, but we think we can get around it, pretty well. The item that they want to address right now, though, is the arsenic issue. So the reason why the arsenic is an issue is because we were using a blended method to mix our water to stay under the numbers. And so basically well sites number 7, 13, 14, 10, we were able to put them in a water line, blend them all and send it to well site number 11, which well site number 11 and the north well field are arsenic culprits. And so what's happened is during the process of the project, we disconnected that blend line and we connected to the new water treatment train. And so it sits idle. So we're coming up with a plan, and there's about 3 options that we're coming up with on how to resolve that as soon as possible. So a couple of them are trying to use the existing water infrastructure, which would be manipulating piping or using vessels. But I feel that at some point, when we get going with a project, we're going to have to come up with another plan to send blend water around that. So I think the best solution is going to be to actually install a temporary above ground pipe, about 400 feet of pipe, and just route it around the project. and make the connection to the tank and blend it with water for now. That way we're able to, work through the TGHM project and not have it interfere. So I think that's probably the safest bet. Might be more costly because we'll be paying for the rental of pipe, which is not that much, but we'll probably have it out there for probably a good year or more. So I am meeting with a contractor tomorrow to get a quote. Based on the quote, I'll see if I have to get other quotes, but I believe that's going to be our plan to deal with our arsenic issues while we're working through the plans and the bidding process for the TTHM project themselves. So anyway, any questions? Got them a lot.
This arsenic thing's not gonna go away. And,
Yeah, so once the TTHM plants are up and running, we will still be blending water using well number 10. Well number 10 has very low water arsenic content, so and if need be, we can still open up the valves that feed from 7, 13, and 14 and blend more water. The only problem is that we're going to be sending treated water to a treated water site. So, it's kind of like paying, for twice the dosage. So we're hoping that just well number 10, and if we can work out something for well number 12, that's how we'll use to dilute arsenic. If not, we'll have to come up with another type of method, maybe filtration or some other mechanical means of treating and removing arsenic.
Frank, one of the things that I'm sitting on the groundwater GSA, I wonder sometimes if we should begin to explore the possibility of purchasing land and getting access to surface water in addition to the pumping, just to kind of begin to address that issue.
So we're looking into that. We should probably have some information to share with you, but we believe it's going to be very costly to be able to do that. But we're going to look at all the pros and
Well,
cons.
we have a resource to fund it, though. I mean, we've got to,
Yeah.
because how many wells do we have now?
We have
14?
we have 8 wells and 2 standbys.
Okay.
We have and all of our arsenic issues are coming from our north well field.
Right.
3, 4, 3, 5, and 6, and 11. 13, 14, 7, 10, not a problem. And then we're in the process of building number 15 or completing well site number 15. So what's that, 8 or 9 wells?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, it's only during the summer months where we have to kick on our north well field is when we have an arsenic issue. Once we don't have such a high demand, we can shut off 11, 3 or 6. We can reduce the numbers that way also. So we just have to get through like about a 4 or 5 month cycle during the year where we really have to watch arsenic.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Any
Other questions?
other questions?
Okay,
Thank you, sir. Moving on to department and city manager reports. Chief Kendall.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Unfortunately, Ray Greenlee was sick today, but he did ask that I give his presentation for you. So he wanted to report out on the summer bash. Obviously, if you attended, it was a very well attended event for the city. He just wanted to make sure that we took an opportunity to thank the City of Lemoore maintenance team, Nick Machado, Oscar Coronado, Isaiah Gonzalez, John Aronimo, Ruben Reyna, and Isaiah Vega. The day and night markets, Greg Solis Flores for collecting the backpacks and school supplies. The South Valley Community Church for collecting the backpacks and school supplies. Lily of the Valley for volunteering during the event. All of the dunk tank participants. Big thank you to the Rotary Club for the free hogs and Fernando with the grocery outlet of Lemoore. I want to thank Dave Brown, the fire department, the police department, City Refuse and the Gas Union, as well as Adventist Health Tulare for donating 80 backpacks. Kevin Northcraft for getting the backpack donation. All the volunteers we had during the event, and then finally the recreational department, Nye and Trent. The only other thing he had to report out on was the flag football numbers. There are 375 kids registered and counting. The goal is 396 total kids, surpassing last year's numbers of 350. For the building division, he mentioned that Maverick's plans should be approved by the end of this week. Out of the police department, the car show was a huge success. Upped our numbers from last year. We had a total of 94 participants. I want to thank the mayor for being out there and that he judging the event. And we raised around $1,500 for the POW program, the Explorer program. And last up, Frank Rivera. You have an update, Frank? I apologize.
Yeah, we actually have a pre-construction meeting with our contractor who's awarded the 2024 road maintenance project. So we'll get a schedule this week. Hopefully they're starting. I think we saw something like in end of October where they're going to start to remove some striping. So you'll be seeing some road work done end of October and through well, should be done in October. So I'm sorry. So I'm sorry, back it up. We're in August. Apologize, just getting over, I think maybe COVID or something here, but anyway, so end of August, we should start seeing some striping being removed. And in October, the brunt of the work will start. So I think by the end of October, the work shall be done. Which that also includes some PFMDs, which are about, what, 7 of those, 6 or 7 PFM. Yeah, so a lot of road work going on. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and move on to consent calendar. Items considered routine in nature are placed on the consent calendar. They will be considered and voted upon in one vote as one item unless a council member or member of the public requests individual consideration. Item 4-1, approval of minutes, regular meeting, July 16th, 2024. 4-2, approval of contract for financial consulting services with Price Page and Company for fiscal year 2024 to 2025. 4-3, approval of denial of claim for Mr. Delgado. 4-4, approval of denial of claim for Ms. Castro. 4-5, approval of budget amendment for the purchase of bleacher for Recreation Department. 4-6, approval of budget amendment for 2024 road maintenance. 4-7, acceptance of quarterly investment report. Is there any item that council would like to pull from consent calendar?
Yes, 4.2 for me and 4.7.
Any other items?
The other thing I'd just like to make a comment on is, I think 4.7 really is a kind of a new practice and procedure that we've implemented, and I would like to see it as a regular part of the agenda, not on the consent calendar.
Something that's a
Public.
presentation?
Yeah. On a quarterly basis.
Noted. Is there anyone from the public that would like to pull any other items on the agenda? On the consent calendar? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept 4-1, 4-3, 4-4, 4-5, and 4-6.
Motion.
Second.
A motion by Councilmember Orth and a second by Councilmember Gornick. Councilmember Orth,
Yes.
Councilmember Gornick,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Item 4-2, did you have specific questions?
Yeah, do we have anybody here now?
Good evening.
Well, when I was looking at the report, one of the things that I wanted to know how much interaction do they have with our new system, that our new data system that deals with our budget?
As far as the programming, they're not involved with it. We consult with them to make sure applications are appropriate. The methods that we're using, the accounting methods that we're applying in the system, but they aren't getting in there and working with us to build out the systems.
So in terms of, in terms of the services they're providing to us,
Mhm.
give me an example of what they're providing to us.
They prepare our financial statements for us at the end of each year, and it has a list of the items that pertain towards
Right.
that. They also do our bank reconciliation as an independent, third party of it, a double check.
Now, at what point will you be able to do that? Or somebody from your staff?
We could do it now, but it's in our best interest to have an outside company monitor and perform our bank reconciliation. It's just a safety net for us to make sure that everything is in order and it shows that we're doing our job and nothing like hinky is going on.
But shouldn't our system be able to alert that for us?
The system, not necessarily,
Well,
no.
if the rules are set up.
You
they
can
should.
still have anyone come in and manipulate a system to
Well,
do
but that's what our
things.
auditor should do, shouldn't it? I mean, shouldn't that be a practice that our auditor, that we request our auditor to do that? I'm just
Mhm, which is
asking
what
this.
they do, yes.
Yeah. But we've got a consulting contract, and then
Mhm,
we have our auditing contract.
mhm.
But when we've interacted with our auditors, they don't seem to provide this service for us.
The
Which-
auditors do not perform the bank rec, no.
Right, but all I'm saying is that I just think that's a process we need to look at in terms of streamlining our procedures, because you guys are competent enough to work with the system that we have implemented.
Mhm,
And all I'm saying is that if you produce a reconciliation and show that to the auditors,
mhm.
I have no problem with the auditors going through it and saying, oh, no, I think this is something, but I hate to see us paying for it 3 times. You doing it, the consultant doing it, and then the auditor doing it. That's where I was getting at in terms of
Mhm.
taking a look at how we might.
So we actually, so in their contract, they do an audit, but then we also pay someone else to do an audit, correct?
They're not doing
They
an,
don't.
well, yes, they're doing an audit of our bank recs,
Mhm.
Okay.
but that's not part of the annual audit. The
Yeah.
annual audit is picking and choosing items out of there to test,
Right.
right? It's not doing
But
the whole.
we can always, and my point, Madam Mayor, is that if we begin to,
I completely agree with your point.
Okay, good.
I understand your point.
okay,
I'm tracking with you.
Yeah.
My question is, I noticed it wasn't a contract, it's a engagement letter that we got. There's nothing in there on if we decide to cancel the contract. What are those terms? Because there was nothing in there that I read that.
Because we just terminate services with them if we no longer need them. There
Okay.
isn't we have 30 days, to notify them or any such.
Yeah.
I will confirm with that, but as it's written in the letter, we do not have any.
but
Can you confirm before we vote on this, or is this a timely?
I mean, I don't mind voting on that. I just wanted to address those concerns and get them.
And I do understand,
City
I
manager.
do understand your point, and the idea is for my department to be able to take on more of these responsibilities, absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's just at this point in time, when we brought them on, we are limited staff to be able to perform all of these items.
However, this technology should allow us to operate more efficiently. And
Yes,
maybe
and we are
less
getting
staff.
there,
Yeah,
yes.
you guys are getting it, right? I
Yes,
understand. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I just hate to have somebody else coming in here and occupying your time to address stuff that somebody else could have done for you,
My concern is we're paying $126,000 to a company that has no tie to our city when we could potentially be paying an employee or to help do that work.
Mhm.
So that's,
And we brought them on at the point that we lost the director position and have not backfilled that position.
Yeah.
Michelle was not a finance director specific. Yes, she oversaw our department, but that is not her background, and she was not able to complete these items.
Gotcha.
So as we bring on that position or fill that body, then absolutely.
so that's why my question is about the termination, because I don't want to tie our future city managers' hands on what their ideas could potentially be.
Yeah, she may have a totally different solution to it.
Could this wait until the 20th for a vote, or do you need a vote tonight?
I mean, they're performing services for us currently, so I would like to get them paid for that. But we have a great working relationship with them, and I'm sure that we could renegotiate terms with them at any point.
How long have we had this particular company?
The last several years, they were our auditors prior to coming on as our financial consultants.
6 years.
Who's the contact person?
Josh Giosa,
That's who we deal with?
yes.
Any other questions from?
Is it possible to me to?
When does the last contract expire?
It's annually, so we bring this back annually.
I realize that. When is that? When is the annually contract?
The
It's in
last one
August.
expired June 30th.
So they've been working without a contract. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Well,
Which is my fault. Normally Michelle would
it's not
take
your-
these items to
yeah.
council in the spring. And so when she left, it wasn't something that I
No.
had thought of immediately to pick up and
Yeah.
continue.
no, this is not about blaming you or your fault or anything. This is just a process thing that we're looking at as a council in terms of,
It usually comes after the budget, so yeah. It's not
Christo,
too-
is it possible for me to speak?
Any questions or comments from the public?
Can I speak?
Go ahead, Kevin.
Thank you. Good evening, council. I wanted to let you know that Jocelyn and I did discuss
Kevin's
the fact
muted.
that I'm muted. Doesn't show me muted.
He sounds different. Don't be alarmed.
trying to talk.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, council.
Hello, sir.
I wanted to let you know that Justin and I did discuss this. This seems like, even though we've done it for many years, it seemed like a large amount of money. And as we've been growing our finance team, I think Jocelyn recently got her bachelor's degree. And we're getting, as Vice Mayor Gornick pointed out, we're getting more computerized all the time. I think we can start to take over more of these items. And I think our new city manager would probably have input on that. I would think it might, if we have ability to cancel or revise this contract during the year, it might be advisable to continue with it for now, but allow our new manager an opportunity for input and maybe renegotiate or look at other options as we continue to grow our in-house finance capabilities.
Thank you, sir.
Good.
Any other comments from the public? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to council.
I would like to move this item for approval with the stipulation that we have the interim or the new city manager provide a report back to us on this process and what's going on in the department. Thanks.
A motion by Councilmember Gornick.
I'll second that.
I have a second by Councilmember Orth. Councilmember Gornick.
Aye.
Councilmember Orth,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. Passes 3-0. Moving on to 4-7, acceptance of quarterly investment report.
The total cash and investment portfolio book value cost held by the city as of June 30, 2024 was 77 million. Balances held in restricted accounts are 3.6 million. Our restricted accounts are the US bonds that we have. The cash and investments held by the city include the following components: our managed investment portfolio of 45 million. Those are our long-term assets. The state and California local agency investment fund, LAIF, is 10,000. Our CAMP, California Asset Management Program pooled investment, is 30 million. That is our short-term liquidity account. And our cash time deposits is 1.3 million. That's what sits in our Wells Fargo checking. And our accrued interest on the investment so far is 418,000 for this quarter. During the quarter, no investments were purchased and no investments matured. The 2-year treasuries yielding 4.59% at the beginning of the quarter ended higher at the end with 4.71, which is an increase of 12 basis points for the quarter. As of June 30, our weighted yield to maturity and investment portfolio was 2.45 years. So considering the projected timing of our cash receipts and disbursements and the structure of our pooled investment portfolio, we at the city should be able to comfortably meet our overall cash flow needs over the next 6 months.
Any
Look-
questions or comments from council?
No, thank you. That's good news.
It's doing very well. If you look on page 2, for the quarter, the total interest that we have received so far is 879,000. And if you multiply that by the 4 quarters, we are looking at 3.5 for the overall 3.5 million in interest to be received. And I know the biggest question that you guys were looking at before is how much of that is looking towards the general fund. Of the 879,000, it's 137,000 that goes towards the general fund. And again, looking at a 4-year quarter future, that would be about 540,000 that the general fund is looking to receive.
On a yearly basis.
Yes.
Right.
That's $1 million.
Any other questions from council?
No, that's why I want to have this on a quarterly basis. It's
Yep.
good news. Something.
Can do. We'll change that.
Yep.
Any questions or comments from the public? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to council.
Move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion, sorry, my pen messed up. I have a motion by Councilmember Gornick and a second by Councilmember Orth. Councilmember Gornick.
Aye.
Councilmember Orth,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. Passes 3-0, sorry. We have no public hearings. Moving on to new business, 6-1, acceptance of the statement of revenue of expenditures report for the general water, refuse, and sewer funds for the fiscal period ending June 30th, 2024.
So the statement of revenue and expenditures attached are being recommended to council to be provided by the finance department on a quarterly basis. The revenue analysis includes a breakdown of sources of revenue and any variances from projections. The expenditure analysis is a detailed account of spending and any variances from projections. Accepting the statement of revenue and expenditures will affirm support of ongoing financial transparency and accountability. The information contained within the report will also guide future budgeting and financial planning efforts. So to start this out, this is something that Kevin and I have been discussing. We want to provide this, like I said, on a quarterly basis. So as the year progresses, you will see like where each fund is sitting, areas that we are lacking, not receiving revenue perhaps, or maybe areas of expenditures that we need to take caution to. So we, as a beginning whole right now, we started just putting together the last fiscal year, and these are unaudited, not final numbers by any means, just where we're currently sitting at. So the first page is looking at general fund. You can see our revenues. We've already received 101% of our revenues. Our expenditures were sitting at about 74% compared to our budgeted to actuals. And the
So, when I was looking at this, I was trying to determine, so where is the balance, the difference between that 17 million and the 12 million there at total expenditures? Where's do we have
A net profit loss? No, I didn't include that on the bottom of the spreadsheet, but we can add that for the next one.
okay, good. And the only reason I asked that is that it kind of ties in well with the investment stuff that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, it would be nice to have this kind of report tied in with the investment report to show what each of these funds are accumulating in terms of.
Correct, yes. So the first page is the general fund, and then the second page is all of our enterprise funds. The same budgeted to actuals and the variances on those. And I will add the same at the bottom of each one of those in the next round. Any other questions on those?
No, it's good.
Any questions or comments from the public? I'll bring it back to council.
Motion to approve?
Second,
I have a motion by Councilmember Orth and a second by Councilmember Gornick. Councilmember Orth,
Yes.
Councilmember Gornick,
yes.
and I vote yes as well. Passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you for that presentation. 6-2, approval to develop and recommend an anti-camping ordinance. Is that gonna be you? Okay.
So again, good evening, Mayor and Council. As you know, in June of 2024, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that anti-camping ordinances do not violate the U.S. Constitution, and cities no longer have to provide adequate shelter to enforce their ordinances. Following this change, the governor issued an executive order to remove homeless encampments on state property and encourage local jurisdictions to follow suit. The state policy provides for advance notice, working with service providers to offer assistance in storing of personal property for up to 60 days prior to moving an encampment. Our current ordinance only pertains to the parks. There's no overnight camping in our parks for our ordinance. We are now able to enforce this ordinance with the change in the law. But it's in my opinion that we need to take a proactive approach and have an ordinance on the books banning all overnight camping on public property within the city limits. In the occurrence that we start to see an influx from other cities in our local area, when they start cleaning up their homeless encampments, they may tend to move. And I think we need to be proactive and get ahead of it and get something on our books. So tonight I'm looking for a recommendation from you. And if you should choose, I will have an ordinance brought back before you.
Is this proposed ordinance, would this cover our schools?
That's private property. They can't set up we would already be able to trespass them out of there.
Okay, that's what I didn't know if we needed to have a kind of a tag resolution that those entities would need to establish. Something
Yeah,
like that.
any type of private property, like even on some of these vacant lots, as long as we have a letter of agency on record, we can move them. And we do.
Sounds good.
Any questions or comments from the public?
Ed Miller. The question I had is, what constitutes camping? How is that defined? Is it, someone just laying in the park, or is it somebody that's in an RV that may be sleeping for the night? That's the question I have.
And that's something that we would have to tailor to the council's choosing. We can add or remove any type of verbiage from that ordinance to no overnight, as strict as no overnight camping period in a vehicle, an RV, tent. It would have to be pretty specific for us to be able to enforce it.
And that will come to council. It will be open to public comment.
I'm,
Yeah.
I had a question, thank you.
And then again, if you're camping, or if you're on private property, that's different.
Yeah, I would just, my 2 cents would be, making sure in this policy, we put the camping in, in cars and be as specific as possible. I think you know that.
Yes, sir.
Chief, this goes back to an earlier conversation we've had about long-term recreational vehicles and driveways.
Yes, sir.
Would this resolution address this? Because that's what's crapping up.
I think it has to go in a different ordinance. I think you would have to separate out the two.
Because it's on private property.
Because it's on private property, and you're gonna get into a few council meetings back. We were talking, Christie brought forward, some property maintenance type standards, and I think it should be included in there. It's more applicable in that section than it would in a camping ban.
Yeah. Because we've got neighbors on both sides of a property who are kind of ambivalent as to how to approach this and
Correct.
And we need to have some clarity for citizens out there as to what,
Right.
What's reasonable,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
this is Kevin Northcraft. I just wanted to add, I think we can put together an ordinance fairly cost effectively. In talking to your new city manager starting in September, she's spent quite a bit of time working in our current city on a draft ordinance, utilizing several other California cities. Because she's coming from a fairly comparable city, I think she's offered to give that to us, and I'll provide it to the attorney's office. So we should be able to get it back to you fairly quickly and inexpensively.
Sounds like a good plan. I'll entertain a motion to, forgot what the wording was, to approve, to develop and recommend an anti-camping ordinance.
Motion.
Motion by Councilmember Orth,
second.
second by Councilmember Gornick. Councilmember Orth,
Yes.
Councilmember Gornick.
Chief, could we have you work with the new city manager and also the one that would deal with the,
I think that would be
Camping
a
with it.
separate issue that you would bring up during,
I mean, it could work on the same time. Okay, so good, I'm good. Yep,
so that's a yes,
yes, it's good.
and I vote yes. Item passes 3-0. Moving on to city council reports and requests. Councilmember Orth.
I hope, Kevin, you feeling better. We miss you. Not that Chief's not doing a good job, but
Thank you.
everyone just keep doing the hard work. Police, fire, all the city employees. You guys are going through a transition right now. I had the opportunity at the bash to talk to a couple different city employees, and seems like most of them are pretty positive. I think some of them are nervous, but we'll get through this. I think it will be interesting, but I think it will be very, very helpful for our city moving forward. Great job on the investments. That's amazing to see that we're looking at $3.5 million and just, I don't want to say free money, but earned money on money we've already had that, quite frankly, for the last couple of years, we haven't been getting. So it's good. Thank you.
Councilmember Gornick.
Yeah, it goes back to the discussion we had about water and another source that we need to look at other than just groundwater. We need to take a look at surface water, and so I'd like to see if we can arrange for a study session, maybe in the next 3-4 months, to begin to take a look at what our options might be, because We just can't rely on the state. We gotta come up with some other. Other than that, I was out of town for the bash. But I'm pleased to report that my granddaughter's 14 won a volleyball team, won the national championship.
Sweet.
And so that was kind of cool. And I had a great time. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Let's see. I'm sorry, I'm usually better prepared, but I came straight here from a conference, so I did not have my notes.
Email not.
Let's see. I did attend a phone interview for the Kings County SEDS. I can't tell you what that stands for right off the top of my head, but I do have it in my notebook that's at home. It has to do with economic development for the county. And it's a program that they redo every 5 years. So it's up for to be redone, and they're in the process of interviewing individuals and entities to get that done. I also toured, my last stop on the PG&E tour was to tour San Ramon, which has their Hawk and their Wildfire Prevention Center in San Ramon, which was pretty intricate. All of the detection software, all the technology they have is pretty amazing. They can see smoke coming like super quick, like it could be a campfire and they can see it. So it's pretty cool to know that type of technology exists and that they're utilizing it to help with wildfires. I did attend the summer bash. I did get dunked, even though I got delayed. So anybody that came at whatever my time was, I went later just due to other events that were happening. But everyone that was involved with that was trooper. And there was a council member who may be sitting up here who said that he's going to participate next year, and I'm going to hold him to it. So look forward to that. Also, there was a ribbon cutting for State Route 41. So that is now open if you didn't know already. That's good to go over there. Very nice. They put on the bridge when you drive by, if you're heading south, right when you cross the bridge, it says 2024, and I think it says the street. You'd probably never see it when you're driving. So I just wanted to point that out because I was standing there and I noticed it. So if you drive by, take a look at that. As Chief said, I did attend the Cars and Cops car show, which was very well attended given the heat. I was shocked that many people came out, but also not shocked because it's a great event. So that was very good. And I did get a t-shirt this year. So super excited about that. Today and tomorrow, I am attending the Meet the Consultants conference in Visalia with Team California, which we have a membership with, which is kind of like an economic development agency that we partner with. So that's going well. And on Thursday, I will be attending the South San Joaquin Valley Division membership meeting, also in Visalia. So that's nice. You don't have to go too far. And there's a lot of other things on my calendar, but I'll just leave it at what I've done and not what's coming next. So with that, we will go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Thank you.